What up, peeps? Had a water leak on this Caterpillar 924K articulated in loader. Oh, look at this. Someone went ahead and ripped the fender off, so we don't have to worry about that. So we got that going for us, which is kind of nice. But water leak, and now when I diagnosed this, I was at Ring Power. This thing's still over here by the Air Force Base. Really, I felt pretty confident saying water pump, because on Caterpillar, especially this model, that's about the only thing that ever really leaks as far as coolant goes. Anyhow, so sure enough, look back in there, drip, yeah. So that's the water pump, and it kind of looks like, to me, see some black back in there, paint that looks like this thing's been replaced before. I'm quite certain I think I have. So anyway, I'm gonna start by taking this compartment off right here, this little door where the fuel cap is. These little bolts come out, 16 millimeter. Take those right on out, and then that'll lay back, and we can access that water pump real easy. 10-4. Okay, so after removing the panel, you can see right away where the water pump's at. Water pump. Okay, so it has been replaced before, though it looks like it's been a while. But in any case, I can get a better look at where that leak's coming from. Kind of see that seam right there? Well, just above that seam, where you really can't see it, but there's what we call a weep hole. And in any case, yeah, I can't really find it over there, but in any case, that weep hole indicates that there's a failure of the seal inside the water pump. So there you go, R&R water pump. Get back to you when I got the old one off. Ciao. So one of the things I really like to do when I'm getting ready to tear something down on any kind of piece of equipment is to make sure I take the master switch, shut that off, and oftentimes I'll just pull it out. That way, if someone decides to get in and start operating it, and don't laugh, it'll happen. I had my jumper cables hooked to a piece of equipment trying to jump start it. Some guy jumped in it, fired the thing up, and drove off. My jumper cable still hooked to it. So you always want to make sure that you got yourself in a position where someone ain't going to run off with your work. All right, now here's something y'all may not want, never heard of before. I'm going to show you what it does. So this crazy looking tool, it's like a giant pick thing. That's a hose removal tool. Now what that does, see that hose down in there? Well, I want to reach back in there. I'm going to go ahead and switch my hands here. Reach back in there. See how I get that right in between the let's see if I can bring, there we go. See how I get that right in between there, like so? You just work that around, right? Breaks that little seal. The next thing you know, you can pop that bad boy right off there. There you go. Bob's your uncle. Now, hold on. One thing I like to tell folks is that, you know, before you get all crazy trying to, I got gale force winds out here. Hang on a second. Before you get all crazy trying to take old parts off and things like that, you better compare them with the new one. One of the first things I noticed about this box is it says 410022 in my handwriting, and this happens to be unit 410020. So I don't think it's going to be a problem with the water pump being the same. It's basically the same loader. But the reason why I have people do this is, for one, drop the gasket down there, down like that. Don't worry about that puddle down there. No one's paying attention to that puddle. That's all water. Okay. Now, clearly, in my opinion, everything being switched over nipples and things like that, Yeah. That's the right one. There's also one to see. There's only so many things necessary, so many fasteners that are necessary to unbolt to get the old one off, right? Because one might be tempted just to go in there, start pulling these things out, right? Thinking maybe they go all the way through. Well, they don't. They just go into the housings. That's helpful to know when you look at your new part. You can see things like that, right? Right off the bat. So that's pretty much that. The part's going to work. We know which fasteners to do, which ones to leave, right? And yeah, back to you in a minute. All right, so now once you get your all your appropriate bolts out, slip a little pry bar back in there. Now you don't want to pry against anything that's going to break, bend, or fracture or whatever, but I don't think we're going to have to pry very hard, so just kind of slide it in there, and we can see it's pretty loose already. The thing that's holding us up actually is the hose down below. I'm just going to reach in and grab it and see what it does. Oh, here we go. All right, see, it just comes right out like that. And that's the gear back there that runs it. You see right here the shaft. On the other side of that is a bearing. And that bearing is probably what's bad and causing the seal to leak. Because the shaft's moving around up and down laterally, or possibly radially, or even axially. So there's all your fancy words for one day. I'm going to use two hands, get this pump on up out of here, and get the new one going in. All right. Yeah, it's a good idea to always check your mounting surfaces. See how they're clean, but I'll take a rag and some brake clean. I'm going to wipe those down and take a Brillo pad or a Scotch-Brite, more than likely, whatever it takes to clean up any kind of debris off of the base of that gasket seal. Same thing with the new pump, though. It's brand new, so it shouldn't have any problems, of course. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice is you got to take this out, which is, I believe, yes, it is. It's a place where you obtain a sample from, or it's also a test port. See, that's pretty. The boot's pretty well deteriorated, so we'll take that off for now and set it on the bench over here. That's basically what it is. We got to take that out and install it in the new pump, and we have to take this off and install it in the new pump. Just a little important mechanic side note here: when you mount especially your new pump, because you don't want to use your vise because you're by yourself, right? So see how I have this gripped on the flange? See that? No place is there a curve or a bind anywhere. I mean, I barely got it, but as long as I'm on that flat spot, okay, I can tighten that sucker down as tight as I want and nothing bad's gonna happen, all right? So you don't wanna go, here would be another good spot, only it'd be upside down in the wrong place. But you can kind of see what I'm trying to say here. See? That's flat right across there. Good place to grip, right there, all right? No grabbing out here on the body, no grabbing the pot. Don't ever grab this with the vise, okay? Always a flange. And if you just don't do anything stupid like trying to grab it out here, okay? Because that's okay. You can do it, but just be very careful and know what you're doing. All right. That's it. All right. So you got your old stuff out. Okay, so I got the 90-degree. Something you gotta want to watch on this deal. I just dropped this in the dirt and I need to clean it up, but that's my point. You need to really clean these things up, inspect them really well. This one has got an O-ring on it. See that right there? O-ring. That's something I'll probably replace. Why? Because I carry them with me. That's why. And there's that. Of course, I pulled this out. Now I took the time to use a wire brush. I mean, come on. That's why. Clean it up real good. And of course, I carry a wire brush with me like this for welding. And also, I carry them little toothbrush style ones with brass. Yeah. But my tool's in disarray right now, so I haven't found that. So I'm just using that one. It works fine. I'll rewrap that with Teflon tape before it goes back in. But I want to get to this over here real quick to show you. If you're gonna switch those over, the first thing you have to do, besides getting the old ones out and cleaned up, is get these plugs out. Now, I'm gonna tell you what, that one, now it seems like a normal size right there, probably about 3/8. Think up here to this bad boy, and if you're like me, I'm sure most mechanics, you're going, my word, that's an awful big Allen wrench thing fastener there. And it is. So it's 5/8. Bam, got it in stock. Works really good to use a 1/2 inch drive on that because, well, it's big. Now, so you gotta get those turned out, make sure the threads look good, get them cleaned up, and back in a minute. Okay, so what a lot of people do and get themselves some headaches, they skip over little things like this, you know. So this is where the bypass hose is going to go on the water pump, okay? Well, this has to be pointing a very specific direction, okay? Now, I've taken the old O-ring off. That's where this goes. That's the O-ring groove right there. I haven't matched up a new one yet. I cleaned all the Permatex out, all the gasket sealer. You see that black stuff there? That's gasket sealer from the last wise guy worked on this thing. You know, I'm the wise guy, but still. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to make sure this nut turns and this moves real easy with the O-ring on there, because what's going to do, you're going to turn this in until you get your about as far as you can go, okay? And then you're going to have your downward direction, or whichever direction you need to have it, and you're going to hold that right there with one wrench and tighten this down with the other. That locks it in place the direction you need to go. But let me tell you, if all that ain't freed up and you're in there with 2 wrenches trying to figure that out, man, it sucks. Do it out here on the vise. 10-4. Just so you know I'm not lying to you. Going back in. Bumping, bumping. Ready to start thumping. Gonna blow smoke here directly. Just gotta get it full cooling. Showing out. Okay, so back at it this morning, braving the rain a little bit today. Last night got this all put back together and could not get this leak to stop at this O-ring right here. Okay, this goes to the top of the water pump. And wouldn't you know it, I went down to Ring Power today to get a new, I guess it'd kind of like be a quad ring, and they have an updated part. The new part comes with, see these things kind of protrude out there? Those don't on that one. And you get this nice little gasket. Look at that. So you get a gasket and an O-ring instead of just the O-ring. So then that's exactly where the leak was at. So I guess there's something up there. All right, so we're gonna put the new part on, the new updated part on, and get her done. Come with a whole kit too. Come with the O-rings and some new bolts and different stuff. So, all right, ciao. All right, so getting ready to go here. Want to make sure you lubricate your O-ring real good. I've chosen to use some dielectric grease. It seems to work good on about anything. It doesn't cause any trouble, really. Gaskets on there and sealed. I did think about, you could use for lubricant, what I have done before when you have leaks that are having a little bit of trouble, or you have an area that's pitted or something. You can use like Permatex or some sort of gasket sealer for lubricant. Thing is you want to do that in a timely manner, so you don't want your stuff to seize up or start getting hard before you put it in the wherever you're putting it. So but today I'm just going to use some lubricant and sensor down to specified torque, fill it up with coolant, and call it a day. Okay, so generally speaking, nothing's ever easy, because if it was, everybody would be doing it, right? Okay, so I'm having a little trouble getting my elbow in the head without the O-ring folding over. So I look back in there, and I got it all lubricated up like I showed you, but I look back in there, you see that hole is supposed to be tapered around the front edge, but you see there's rust and corrosion and paint mainly. It's making the area where it's supposed to push that O-ring in and a taper there, it's all full of garbage. So I'm gonna try to take a file or something and get it back in there and clean it out so I can get it in there without folding over the dang O-ring. Okay, gotta check out for those things. Just can't shove stuff in holes without watching where they go. All right, there you go. Okay, and finally, there it is, the new one installed. Holy mackerel. Just a matter of Putting the fuel filters back on, putting some antifreeze in it, topping off all the levels, making sure they're good, and make sure the radiator's blown out. And this thing is about done. Hopefully so. And finally, here you have it. Running. There it is. Just so, that you don't want to see that.